Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Viking, of course. This is my review for WandaVision Episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall. Now this episode, not one of my favourite of the season, it wasn't, but I still thought it was good, and I actually thought the ending was rather brilliant and well executed. Of course, this episode took inspiration from Modern Family and The Office, especially with the opening sequence. Kind of the theme song was very Office-esque. Yeah, Modern Family, where they're there talking to the camera, stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty good. And yeah, in this episode we get to see Wanda kind of not being able to control her powers. Things are changing. We've seen in every episode they've gone through the decades of the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s to modern day. But in this episode, she wasn't able to control that. The lamp was changing, the TV was changing, the milk was changing, the container for it. So that was pretty interesting to see kind of Wanda kind of going back into the madness that she was probably in before this false reality was created. And we get to see that the General was using Vision, trying to bring Vision back to life for some way. I don't know why, but he failed. But Wanda was able to do it successfully. They were experimenting on Vision, definitely, over something. We haven't really figured out what that is yet. But in this episode altogether, it was a good episode. It was okay, but I was just looking for something else. I actually thought the visual effects in this episode were pretty well done and pretty badass, especially the scene where Monica is trying to break through the hex, and you get to see the way she looks now, the way she looked in Wanda's reality, the different versions of her through the different time periods. I thought that was cool, but she was able to break through the false reality, break through the hex, and not gonna get dogged down by what Wanda wants. And Wanda wants her to look like she's from the modern day and being a part of this sitcom element, but she broke through it, which was pretty cool. And it looks like she has gained her powers from that. It looks like that Monica is going to be some sort of superhero. I don't know what abilities she has yet. I don't know in the comics what happens, what kind of superhero she is, but it looks like she's going to be a foe for Wanda. Maybe the two of them will face off, or maybe the two of them will team up at some stage. But I thought it was badass where Wanda is getting annoyed at Monica and she pushes her up into the air, and then she tries to slam her down to probably kill her or hurt her, but Monica's able to take it and lands successfully, and it shows that she has her powers. So I can't wait to see her just be unleashed and unveil what her powers are actually going to be. Thought that was pretty badass. The two kids, of course, Billy and Tommy, worried about their mother. Are these kids real? I still don't know. Kids have been a large part of this series, for the kids, missing kids. Even on the milk carton that Wanda was using, we got to see some child was missing on the side of it. It was kind of blurred out, didn't get to see. But kids have been a big element of this. And even in last week's episode, Pietro was asking Wanda, what did you do with all the children? Were they home in bed and sleeping comfortably? Where are the children gone? So children seem to be a big impactful thing for this series, and maybe for this three-part arc as well, because even in the Loki trailers, that character Mephisto, he's kind of over a little girl as well, so I think there is something got to do with children, especially powerful children, and maybe Mephisto, maybe Nightmare, maybe Agatha are trying to use children for their own kind of team of super villains, or to manipulate children and use their powers, or maybe even take their powers. I don't know. We got to see kind of Vision and Darcy on their kind of side mission as well. Darcy was kind of under the false reality too. She was some magician or something, but Vision was able to help her come out of that, and the two of them were teaming up together to try and get towards Wanda. But of course Wanda was making it difficult for them to get through it, and they were kind of the red lights and children walking by and stuff like that. But Vision has thought to himself, look, I can fly, so I'll just fly over. That's the last we kind of see of Vision in this episode. Maybe he'll come and save the day in the next episode. But yeah, so we have Monica, who's working with some kind of contacts outside of the hex. I thought it was going to be a big reveal. I thought it was going to be somebody that we knew. I think it's just somebody that worked with her mother or something like that. I didn't recognize the character whatsoever, but they build this kind of machine that she's able to go through. The machine doesn't work that well. The machine kind of turns into a car, but then Monica can think, I can get through this, and she does. And as I said, that was a pretty cool visual effect element from the team there, and you can see why this show was really high budget, because of the visual effects, the changing of the TV or the wallpaper and stuff like that, or the hex, or changing the cars, or the reality of what kind of time period we're in. I think it's pretty badass. It's pretty brilliant from the visual effects team, so hats off to them. But then as we get closer to the end of the episode, it's revealed, like Wanda and Monica have this face off, and Agatha harkens, I think it is Catherine Hahn's character, comes and says, look, just don't mind her, come on with me, we'll go over to my house. And they go over to the house, and then Wanda's kind of kind of taken aback by the house, you know, like the kids have eaten their food, it's kind of half eaten, not fully eaten, and there's cartoons on the TV. I don't know if kids that age will watch that kind of cartoons, but then there's kind of a fly or a bug on the wall, and she just kind of gets creeped out, and the rabbit, of course. And she asks where the children are, and she says, oh, they're probably in the basement playing. And she goes down to the basement. It's this kind of weird, I got very much kind of witch vibes, you know, maybe something that you'd see in some sort of, I don't know, a magic place that you do kind of, where sorcerers would go to just make up magic. It seemed like that kind of vibe, and look, I didn't, like, since episode 1, we've all thought, oh, Catherine Hahn's character has to be this character from the comics, the witch. And then last week, we kind of got blindfolded because we got to see her kind of in a witch costume, and I thought, oh, that's too much on the nose, she can't play that character from the comics. She's wearing a literal witch costume, and Vision is able to snap her out of the false reality, and she plays along and says, oh, are you an Avenger, you here to save us, and all this kind of stuff. So I thought maybe she's just being mind washed as well, just like the other people in this community. But it turns out that Catherine Hahn's character, in fact, is Agatha Harkness, is this witch character that is the baddie of this show, and it shows us how she's been manipulating Wanda and each episode of this show, and how she created Pietro, Quicksilver, Evan Peters to be Quicksilver, and she's behind everything, and she even killed the dog. Now that's pretty dark. They killed the dog off, and she just killed it for whatever reason. She's the one who has the children now. She's the one that took all the children in the community. What is actually happening? So it looks like she was using Wanda's disadvantage, her kind of tough time that she was going through over losing her husband. And it looks like Agatha has used Wanda for her advantage, which is to get children, to make children, to produce children, to use these children in some way. And maybe Evan Peters isn't Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men universe. He was just playing that character. So I was kind of right a few weeks ago, and I didn't want to get my hopes too high because I didn't think he was Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. I thought he was just playing the character of Pietro, and he was somebody else, which it looks like he is, which could be Nightmare from the comics, another villain. People think Mephisto. It's probably not going to be Mephisto. I don't think so. But is Catherine Hahn's Agatha, is she the main villain of this show, or is there another big baddie? Is it Evan Peters as well, Nightmare? Now, is Evan Peters and Catherine Hahn's character, are they together? Are they in love? Is he her son? What exactly is going on? What's the goal for these two? Do they want Wanda and Vision's children for their own kind of power, to maybe take their power, or to use them and train them as baddies for whatever team maybe Mephisto was creating down the line to take on the Avengers, or just to take over the world? I'm not too sure. We know there's a big Luke Skywalker type cameo. Who could that be? It's somebody that Vision Paul Bettany has not worked with. It could be Doctor Strange. It honestly could. Like, we're getting really hyped up about who could it be? Somebody else from a different universe. Who could it be? At the end of the day, it could just be Doctor Strange, because these three stories, these three movies, the Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange 2, they intertwine, they connect together. So it could just be Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch could be the Luke Skywalker cameo. I'm not too sure if Vision and him worked together before, because Paul Bettany said it's somebody I never worked with before. I don't know if them two had an actual scene together, so it could be that. But I think we'll get Doctor Strange, and I think we will get a big cameo. I think we will. But who's the big baddie? Is it just Catherine Hahn? Now, in a way, it's a bit too on the nose, because people from episode 1 thought, oh, Catherine Hahn, Agatha, it has to be the character, you know, the witch. It has to be her. She's a villain. And we got kind of swayed. We got kind of, oh, it's not her. Oh, it is her. Maybe it's not, actually. Especially in last week's episode. So for me, it's a little bit too on the nose if she's just the big baddie. I hope there's another big character, another bad character. Maybe that's Evan Peters. They have to explain that as well, kind of in a way. But I hope it's just not her and she's been just kind of using Wanda this whole time. I hope there's some other meaning behind it. It seems too on the nose. It really does. And there's 2 episodes left, so I hope it ends with a big bang. I hope there's some other big twist. I hope there's some big reveal. Like, it is a bit confusing when you look at Evan Peters from the X-Men universe, and then now he's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then he was playing Pietro, a character that he's played in the Fox universe, but it turns out he was just playing that character to fool Wanda and Vision when he's actually playing Nightmare. But the only reason that gets confusing is because you're using you're using the multiverse, where you're bringing characters from other universes, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Alfred Molina, those kind of characters. Maybe we get to see alternate versions of the Avengers in the future as well. So it's interesting, and I hope it's not too confusing. Like, I'll understand, and I'm sure you will as well. But it's just what is the basis? What are they using to tell the multiverse story? But you know what? The post-credit scene was cool. So let's see Monica go over to a house, open up kind of a basement, and then we have Evan Peters there, like, don't be snooping, or it's rude to snoop, or something like that. So it's pretty cool. So we will get to see Evan Peters again. My fear was that he would be gone from the show or something like that. He was just there to play Pietro, and now he's gone. But it's cool that he looks like he's a part of this big elaborate plan with Agatha as well. So that's pretty cool. I'm just glad Evan Peters is in it, because I think he's a pretty cool actor and he can play anything. But it's cool that he was playing Pietro, a character that he used to play in a different timeline, and now he is a big bad villain. Now, you can do that in a way, you can say, like, oh, in this Earth you are Nightmare, you're this character, but in this other universe, in this other timeline, you were actually an Avenger, you were actually an X-Men, you were a Quicksilver type character. That's what you were like. We could bring that in here. That could be something that they do. It could have different, like Wanda, Elizabeth Olsen could be a different character in some other alternate universe. You just don't know. So yeah, 2 episodes left. I expect these last 2 episodes to be the big high budget type Marvel cinematic movies that we're used to. I expect big action. It looks like from the promos that Wanda and Vision have to team up to fight something. Are they fighting Agatha and Quicksilver, or Nightmare, Evan Peters, or are they actually fighting Sword? Because we know the General is starting to put plans in place to take on this Hex and actually probably try and kill Wanda, because he wants her to be the villain. And look, that's what Monica says. Look, the General wants you to be the villain. Don't be the villain. And then Wanda goes, maybe I already am. So it kind of justifies the General's plans, where he was experimenting on Vision when he probably wasn't supposed to, but he ended up making it out to be, oh, Wanda's the one who brought him back, and Wanda's the one who has this false reality created. I have to take her down. So it kind of makes him look good, even though he was doing bad things also. So there's a few arcs that need to be tied up for the last 2 episodes, but I thought episode 7 was good. It set up some things for the next 2 episodes. And I loved actually the last part where, oh, it's Agatha this whole time, and this kind of title sequence went on, and it showed all this stuff that she was doing behind Wanda's back and stuff that we didn't really realize. So I thought that was pretty cool. So 2 episodes left. I'm expecting some big action. I'm expecting some heartbreak as well, because are the kids real? Are Vision real? When this Hex is deconstructed, do they exist? Do they die? What will that do to Wanda if that's the case? And what does Agatha and Nightmare or Evan Peters, what's their big plan? What do they want out of all this? Why do they want kids so much? What's the big plan? And is this going to be the creation of mutants in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or have mutants already existed but we just didn't know about it? Guys, I'm interested to hear your thoughts about WandaVision episode 7. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you think of this episode? What do you think it's setting up for the last 2 episodes of WandaVision? I can't believe it. The episodes have flown by, and I'm glad you guys are here to watch these reviews, talk about these reviews with me, which is also good. Guys, you can follow me in all this stuff. That stuff is in the end credits of this video, but let me know below, that's the most important thing, what your thoughts are in this episode, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. And yeah, hopefully it's my fear was they'd set up so much potential, but they wouldn't nail it in the last 2 episodes or the last episode. So hopefully they do. I have faith that they will, because I've enjoyed the season so far, but let's see how it goes. But guys, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Enjoy.